All right, everybody, and welcome to an all new episode of Hard Rock History Show, episode 18. Yes, and I'm here with my co host Tommy. And today we have another very special guest. This man I've loved since the 80s. I didn't get a chance to see him in '79 when they opened up for Kiss, but he's in New England. He was in Warrior with Vinnie Vincent, which I really want to get into, and in with Alcatrazz, which still love to death even to this day. It's Gary Shea. Gary, thank you for joining the show today.
Hey guys, nice to see you. I'm 18.
God, I saw you open up for Ted Nugent at the Pier in New York City.
All right, that was a cool gig.
That was a great gig,
Yeah,
and you were right next to the Intrepid, if you recall.
yeah. It was called the Pier, I think,
The
something
Pier.
Pier
Yeah. Were
Festival.
you at
Concerts
that
on the
one,
Pier,
Tommy?
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good show. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw a lot of shows at the Pier. There were a lot of great concerts there.
I was like in the 20th row, and Ingve actually hit me in the chest with his pick.
There
Believe it or not, I still have that pick today.
you go.
Unbelievable. So we're promoting today. You have a new book called "No Bass, No Party," and it's basically about your entire life up until yesterday, right?
Yep.
Pretty much, right? And you're doing a book signing next week in Detroit.
Yep, June 12th in Berkeley, Michigan.
And the name of the bookstore?
It's going to be Berkeley Music Company.
Okay,
It's actually a music store.
good. All right, like we like to say, we want to get started with the origins. What got you into music itself? What was the turning point? Was the Beatles at Ed Sullivan? Was it hearing Jimi Hendrix for the first time? What was your deal?
I don't know. I just kind of drifted into it over a course of time in junior high. I had some friends down the street that had a guitar and drums, and I was messing around with them. And I thought it might be fun to get a guitar, and I could play with them. So I did that and took some lessons, and and one day I was in an old time Radio Shack kind of place, independent electronics store. They had some used guitars on the wall, and I had a used for Fender bass, and I took it down. I just bought a brand new Stratocaster. I started off with a Japanese Taisco Del Rey guitar that I got for $68 at Caldor's, if I remember Caldor's.
Oh wow, yeah.
And and uh and I bought for a brand new 65 Strat Sunburst for $265 in New Britain, Connecticut.
And that was a lot of money back then, right?
That was a couple of years of picking apples
Yeah.
and working it. So I had the guitar, and I was with some of the friends. We were messing around on the weekends, and had like four guitar players and a drummer. And I picked up the bass, and I went, "Whoa, this thing's like an aircraft carrier." And
Mhm.
we plugged in and shook the room. I said, "I'm in. I'm going here. Forget the little thin guitar strings. I'm going where the meat is." So I became a bass player instantaneously that day, and I haven't looked back since then. And then
And
my
were
friend that
you
I
a
was
guy
with,
that by ear, or were you reading music? Or how did you
by ear,
learn?
I'd taken some guitar lessons, but stopped. Um, I started off with an accordion teacher, uh, who was a cool guy, actually. He taught me, I'm a left-hander, so he taught me to play right-handed. And at first I thought he was out of his mind. And he convinced me that, if you do that, you don't have to worry about custom guitars or flipping the guitar upside down. You can go to a party and play anybody's guitar, and it's a lot less of a
Mm.
pain in the neck. And so he said, you don't know how to play one way or the other, so what's the matter to you? But I think it's a good thing because I have strength in my left hand, especially on an upright bass, to hold the strings down. Got a lot of strength in my left hand. I think that's an asset. So it worked out pretty good. So took it from there, we started a high school band playing around and doing the usual stuff.
And were you a pick guy, or did you go straight through with fingers, finger work?
Actually, I was a thumb pick guy.
Oh,
Play
Hmm.
okay.
with a thumb
That's
pick back
interesting.
then. Yeah. And to this day, I still play with thumb picks. I make my own little Herco
Custom. Oh, nice.
Huh.
picks. So the idea with that is I can I can play with my fingers and then go to pick immediately.
Mm.
so I don't miss anything.
I get best of both options. Yeah.
Yeah, within an eighth note, I can switch. If I want to dig in and grind, I can do that. If I want to play something more delicate, where I'd like to have my fingers, because I'm basically a fingers guy. I started with the thumb pick, but then I started playing my fingers for years. All the New England stuff's with my fingers. All the Alcatrazz stuff is with the pick.
Wow.
So I've combined the best of both worlds by using the thumb pick. And there's a few guys I know that do that, but very few. So, and I've got my own little pick on there. And I like the Herco picks, but they don't make the thumb part here is too tight. And they don't make their heavy duty pick isn't the same plastic as the picks that I do use. So I've combined the two. I cut them off and glue them back together again
Are you
using two
making
different
custom
companies.
for yourself itself, or you
Yeah,
having them
I
make
make
them?
it for myself.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I got a couple of dozen of them. So, it says Alcatraz, and then where are we?
Right, go by your face. Yeah.
There we go.
There you go. Oh, cool.
And I
And,
paint them
and do,
black.
do do fans luckily get some of these out on the road when you're on the road?
Now, I gave one to a little kid in Switzerland one day. There was a
That's
little
it.
kid, one little kid, like 8 years old, in front of us, and a gig we did in Switzerland. And he was a cute little kid. His mom was there, his parents were there. And I stopped before the stage and I reached out and gave him the pick. He didn't know what it was. He's going, well, what's this? And his mom's going, that's cool, that's cool.
Just
Yeah,
take it.
just take it.
Yeah, it's very unusual. That's definitely special if someone would get something like that from you.
Yeah.
I
So
guess
it
it's
was
just a
kind
pain
of
in the
fun.
butt to keep making multiples of that, especially when you're on tour.
Yeah, and I was trying to get him remolded or have Herco make me special picks and all that. That hasn't happened yet. And so I just combined them. So that's the pick deal.
Gary, when you were young, starting up and as a professional musician, were there any bass players who you kind of emulated or found interesting?
Well, my guy is John Entwistle,
Mm.
Okay,
hands down. I mean, talk about all these other guys, but he's the guy that can move the earth with the bass. The stuff he did
yeah,
in the bass is still ridiculous. And he had the sound, and then he invented Marshall amplifiers, rotor on strings. And I love Paul McCartney for the musicality and the lines he
hmm,
plays. And he's very piano oriented. All his lines are left hand
yes,
of the piano, and very, very musical. But so is John Elsel. He played French horn, and he had
hmm,
some really interesting ideas that he could translate to the bass. And for me, The Who was the first heavy band, again, hands down. They were out there in 1964,
They were
65.
maniacs back in the day.
Maniacs, their own amplifiers, homemade amplifiers at
yeah,
first, bigger and bigger and bigger until they got with Jim Marshall. The first Marshall amps were owned by The Who. So hands down on that story, who started what, but I'd say John Whistle. And of course, later on, plenty of other people like Jack Bruce and Chris Squire and all that, just some great bass players. Go down a line of guys, you know. I love bass players. There's so many great bass players out there.
And did you start like as a tribute band in the early days as a teenager?
Oh yeah, we played we played My Generation. I remember a friend of mine saying that I nailed it to solo. I say, your dreams I did. Close, but no cigar. But it sounded like pretty good. We did some Who songs, we did Kink songs, Beatles songs at high school band. We played for about 2 years up around Connecticut, upstate New York, Rhode Island. We played like twice a week, and we did pretty good. And the band broke up as I was getting out of high school. And that back then was the draft was going on. People going to
Mm.
college or going to get drafted for Vietnam and everything. So that had a big effect on
Did
everybody.
you have a number?
Oh yeah, 74.
Wow.
They were looking for me.
Wow. Holy cow.
Yeah, I drew a 74, which means between there and 125, you're going 125, 250, maybe 250 to 365, never going to happen. But I was going to school and I had a deferment for a bit. I went to Boston from there and started playing in Boston bands.
And so I
And
guess you never got called in then,
no,
obviously. Yeah,
no,
thank God.
yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
there's a story about that, but I might want to say it on here. I'll tell you off the air later. How's that sound?
Okay. Okay. And you want to get to New England? Did you meet the guys in the Massachusetts area?
Well, yeah, I was in Boston and I was playing with guys who were going to Berkeley School. And we were playing John McLaughlin songs and couldn't get arrested in the bars because we weren't playing Rolling Stones, Brown Sugar songs. And they tell us we suck.
They want a top 40,
They
basically.
want a top 40.
Yeah.
And the guys want to stay in school. So I moved to England. I went to London and I was in London for about a year and a half and played a bunch of cats. And when I came back, that's when I met the guys who became New England. So prior to that, I'd been in London where I played Michael Corby, who started the Babies, and Luther, who became Ariel Bender from Mott the Hoople,
Mm.
Luther Grozer from Spooky Tooth, and I played Peter French, who just left Cactus. I played the guys who became Detective eventually, Michael Monarch from Steppenwolf, and those guys. And then Herman Rohrbau was playing drums. Young guy from Germany. He got kicked out at the same time I did. We had a great thing going. We were financed by Robert Stigwood, recording at CBS in London. And I'm 20 years old, and they're paying me. I ran going, my friends will never believe this.
Wow.
Wow, Stig was part of you, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'd go to 67 Brook Street to the office, and there'd be Eric Clapton and the Bee Gees and stuff. My friends will never believe me.
That's amazing.
I'm not going to tell them. So, but then I got a letter in the mail saying that they've been looking for me for immigration, and my visa was way overdue, and I should leave immediately. And Herman got the same thing. So Herman went back to Germany and joined a very unknown band called the Scorpions.
Mm.
And I went back to Boston, and eventually I joined what became the group New England. Make a long story short.
Yeah.
So that was about 3 or 4 years.
And then were you playing the circuit? And that's how Bill Coin noticed you guys?
No, we weren't at all. Um, when I met the guys in New England, we were. We did play everywhere from Michigan to Montreal, uh, 7 nights a week and all that stuff, and broke up and got back together again just to work on original music in the daytime and worry about the rent at nighttime, which we did. And we got a record deal and a management deal on the strength of demos we were doing in Philadelphia. We had a connection to a friend in Philadelphia, a 16-track studio. Back in the mid 70s, that was a big deal. Because most demos were 8-track or probably 4-track done in
Mm.
somebody's basement, someplace with 2 overhead mics. We had a real studio. And the demos sounded great. And that eventually worked its way into 6 record company presidents coming to our little cottage in the woods to see if we could do it live. And we did. We had 6 offers. Clive Davis came to our house, sat right in front of my SVTs, said, watch this.
Wow.
He said they just signed the Kinks and one of my favorite bands. He said, but you guys are heavy. Arista needs a heavy band. We want you guys to be that. Elektra's saying, you guys, we have Queen. You guys are the American Queen. We want you really bad. And then Bill Coyne walked in, who was managing Kiss, the brains behind the Kiss brothers, along with Gene and Paul and Ace and Peter. And we became part of the Coyne stable. And then things really took off from there. Did the first New England album, toured like crazy and doing great.
And
And
what wasn't that didn't get you to Clive? You know, was there an offer on the table with Clive
oh yeah,
himself?
he offered
And
to
and,
he had a deal right there in front of us.
and
But
what
we
didn't you
didn't.
like that made you go with a coin?
Well, Coyne was for management.
Okay.
But Clive was for a record company, and Arista was sort of a new country, a new company.
Yeah.
And Clive kind of works with solo people. He's not really a band
Right,
guy.
Aretha,
So
yeah, yeah.
he's the first guy to say, get rid of the drummer, get rid of the keyboard player. We'll get this other guy from this other band, and blah blah blah.
He likes more session people
Yeah,
in that sense,
yeah,
yeah.
which is cool. And it's very successful doing that. And other labels we thought had distribution problems. If Bill was saying, if say the hit record, there'd be a chance of some records record companies can't get this more records to the stores within 2 or 3 weeks. And if that happens, you're going to lose that momentum. The kids are going to go to some other artists and buy their records while you're sleeping. So we can't have that. And you can go to
Right.
Columbia, and there's like they have 30 great records coming out every week, and you're one of 30, and there's only room for 10 in the top 10.
You're gonna get lost in the pile.
You get lost in the shuffle,
Yeah.
and you're up against everybody. Bob Dylan puts a record out, and you're on Columbia, and everybody runs over to Bob Dylan part of the room. And that's the way it goes, the David and Goliath stuff. So we uh, signed to a new company, which is called Infinity, and it was the president of Epic Records. Had been president for 15 years, Ron Luxembourg. And he got money from the Shea to start a new company, went out and hired the best promo guys in North America. He stole the best guys from every label out there. He put together this great promotion team. And he only had 2 or 3 bands, us and Orleans and Rupert Holmes, Spyro Gyra, 4 bands. And so we said, got to make us famous. They have to be behind us. If there's nobody, there's no competition. So they slammed it, you know. Billboard magazine, the back cover is John and Oko, and the inside cover is us. That was a $5,000 ad back then. $5,000 ad in 1978. Pretty expensive
Yeah.
Sure.
investment, but they did those kind of things back then. Back when print was big and magazines ruled, and there was no social media.
Right.
There was no YouTube, no MTV. And we were fortunate because we were with Kiss, we had a video. Because back then, the only people with videos were Queen, Elton John, Kiss, and that was it. So we were able to be on the Don Kirshner rock concert, which is great with our video. And of course, that got us lots of fans. Um, so it was a different scene back then, and we navigated through all that, you know. And the record company collapsed, which is what our problem was. Started doing our second record, all well and fine, and got a phone call to No More Record Company. And they had signed 44 bands. Ron Luxembourg said he was going to work with closely with 4 or 5 bands, and he went and signed 44 bands. Great. MCA was the parent company. They acquired the contract, and they said, out of the 44 bands, we're going to keep 4 bands, and you guys are one of them. I thought it's cool. So we went to LA to MCA Records to the Black Rock, the 16th floor. Bob Simon was the president of MCA. Went to his office. We started talking about 12 by 12s and point of purchase. Going, whoa, whoa, how do you guys know all this stuff? So we've been hanging out at the Kiss office. We've been going to school for interviews and signing autographs, going to record stores, radio stations. What are you going to do for us? Why should we stay with MCA? And we had that conversation. Bill O'Coin was with us. And that night, we went to dinner with Elektra Records again. And again, they came at us hot and heavy and said, we will sign you guys. We're the home of the Doors and Queen. We will back New England big time. We want New England. And so we decided to not go to MCA, which been a smoother transition to another company. That took another close to a year in court to get that up and running. So we lost a lot of steam on that second record. We lost the second record, and we signed to Elektra, and they didn't do much for us on the second record or the third record. So that was sort of the history of New England. Even though we toured a lot, made good records. We worked with Todd Rundgren, Mike Stone, worked on all the Queen records. Paul Stanley produced the first record. We kind of produced ourselves on the first record, but the second record with the band, John Fan and Mike Stone produced the record. And Elektra picked the wrong single both times. We had a song on the second record called Conversation. And it was a cruel to be kind of song, conversation, such a simple thing. It's all we need is conversation. Very radio friendly, acoustic kind of song, like Nick Lowe or something like that at that time. And we also had a song called Explorer Suite, which is this big 6-minute opus with 2 keyboard players, almost grandiose keyboard orchestration thing. That's it. That's going to show the band your musicianship, and that's going to be the single. Going, oh, and they're going to chop it up and have some engineer out of Clear Blue try and chop it up and sound stupid. And they put that out, and of course it flunked. Nothing happened. And we went on tour and did great. Had a really great time. The North American tour. Came back for the third record with Todd Rundgren. And that was really exciting because we were all Nas fans. And back when I was in high school, I was the first Nas opened my eyes, and we thought that was just really, those guys are cool. And we got to work with Todd, who was an amazing, amazing guy. And we had a song that would have been the follow-up to our song, Don't Ever Want to Lose You. It's called Don't Ever Let Me Go. Had a lot of singing. Um, Todd played guitar on it with our guitar player, John, and he did a, a tandem guitar thing together, which was really cool. And we had another song that had no lyrics, and Todd was messing around. I said, let's call, Be My Dirty Dream or something. I'm going, yeah, right. He's going, yeah, we'll call it DDT, Dirty Dream Tonight. We're going, oh, whatever. So it was just a rock and roll, Chuck Berry kind of straight ahead rock song. Be My Dirty, you're the kind of girl I like, Be My Dirty Dream Tonight. They sent a demo to Los Angeles, and we got word back that they said the girls in the office are dancing on the desktops. It's a hit. This song is killer. It's going to be the single. And we said, okay, you know, we don't think so, but okay, you're the record company, you're the brains. And they put it out, and every female disc jock, every female program director and music director said we were male chauvinist pigs and refused to play the record.
Oh,
And the
geez.
record dived, and Elektra dropped the band off the label. Now I got no record deal. Thanks. And here we were, Circus Magazine, top 4 bands in America, the Cars, the Knack, us, and Molly Hatchet, top 4 bands. From that to no record deal in 3 years. It's like, what did we do wrong?
Right.
With 3 albums of, we thought it was pretty strong material. Band's great live. And we lost our guitarist. He got disheartened and left. And we replaced him with a guy named Vinnie Vincent who was in Los Angeles with the Kiss guys at the time. And we morphed into more music from there.
And I became Warrior. Let me ask you, you guys were on the Dynasty tour with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what was the reaction with everybody with you? Like they're coming to see they're coming to see the superheroes. Did you get a warm welcome, or was people just
Yeah.
floating in? Like what it was like 7:30, 7 o'clock was your time slot, or 8 o'clock was your
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
slot?
The opening act, and you're doing like 8 songs, maybe. But the exposure was amazing. We knew that when we talked about Paul producing the record, that was a given, that we're gonna acquire some army with that move, as opposed to getting somebody else to produce the record. If we use Paul, it's going to get promoted also within the Kiss camp, which is not hateful. And we got ovations every night. We did, I think, 27 cities with the Kiss tour. So everywhere from Atlanta to wherever. Played the Silver Dome in Michigan, Madison Square Garden for 2
With the
nights.
garden, yep, yep.
I got kicked out of high school for clothes and stuff. We've done it for Greenwich Village and buy clothes and come back to Connecticut and get kicked out of school. And one day I said, we're going to play the guard. We're going to play the guard, FO and die. We're going to play the guard. Yeah, right. Go home and change your clothes. Get a haircut while you're at it. Did that. So we played the guard. We were big bad. I got a roll of SVTs, serious firepower. And I'm grinning like the Cheshire Cat. That was a great tour. And the thing about the kids was that we learned later on, a lot of kids came to see Kiss for the first time. And they were, 15 years old. A lot of them came with their parents. And they said, when you think about it, we came to see Kiss, but you're the first band we ever saw in an arena.
Right.
And you guys were great. And they all said, who are these guys? And they went out and they bought our record. And we have some avid New England fans that are Kiss fans that love us equally, that say, we just couldn't believe the band when we saw it. And I never forgot seeing the band when I was 15 or 16 at the Garden or wherever we were. And so that was kind of cool.
That's amazing because it's a very different sound, from Kiss.
Right. Yeah, we're doing a lot more intricate things, and the guys in Kiss were very supportive. We were friends. We got along great. The same management company, so everything was pretty kosher backstage. We had some ex-KISS guys in our crew, and we had good guidance. Like I said, we uh, showed us how to do a few things, showed us how to do a lot of things.
I bet.
And we were introduced into the arena world of playing rock
Hmm.
music, which is a whole different ballgame playing bars. And then more problems come up with that as well. The higher up you get, the more problems come
I
up.
bet.
The therapists come out of the woodwork and the
Right.
bands break up. And people go, what happened to my favorite band? Why'd that guy quit my favorite band?
Right.
Were you seeing any tensions within them at the time, or was it
Well,
just
there was frustration. Peter was kind of lagging a bit, and Paul be up there going, here, come on. And they kind of masked it better. No one really saw it quite. We saw it up close and was standing right there, and he was having a little struggle with doing things. And then we left. We finished that tour. We went on making our records, and they did theirs. Then they got Eric Carr in the band, and I had a great Kiss story. My favorite Kiss story, I think, is we played softball in Central Park, and it was the Coin All Stars against the Glickman Marks Company, which was Kiss's accountants. And it was half of the bands and half of the people in the office. So some of the people had been in high school baseball, and some of the people had never seen a baseball or
Mm.
softball. So that leveled the playing field pretty good.
Right.
Ace was on our team. Calling everybody, hey Curly, hey Curly. Ace was great. And and Gene and Paul were on the opposing team. And of course, Gene does not like to lose.
very serious?
And I'm left-handed. I'm out there with a right-handed glove on my hand, trying to catch things in center field, just falling off the glove like I'm not even close. I can run the bases, but I can't catch the ball. And Eric Carr shows up. And Eric is, new drummer in Kiss, and he's a lefty. He's got this like a $500 first baseman's mitt, beautiful mitt. And I said, Eric, you mind if I borrow your glove? He goes, yeah, no problem. I got the mitt. I'm out in center field. Gene Simmons hits his pop up way, way up into the trees, and it's coming right at me. And I'm going, come on, God, buddy. You and me one time. Let me catch this ball. I'll be a good boy the rest of my life. Come on, God. Let's do it, me and you, buddy. And I caught the ball. And we changed sides. And make a long story short, it happened the second time. The same thing. Second time, I'm in center field. Up here comes the ball. Come on, God, me and you, buddy.
One more time.
No, I'm asking you twice, but you gotta do it. I caught the ball. We're changing sides, and Gene walks by because I'm really starting to hate you.
That's great.
That was great.
So funny.
Jimmy and John, New England, they'd played high school ball and had interest, to go to college and stuff. They were good players. Hirsch Gardner, our drummer, played softball in Canada and had a great underarm thing going on. But
Mm.
me, I didn't play baseball too much. But that was a great story.
What those two
She
pop-ups
told
are.
me. Yeah.
You always had that
We won. And it was
up on
we
them.
actually had our team won, and then they published it in Billboard magazine. So it was about the baseball game. The Coin All Stars versus the Glicksman Company. So that was a good time.
Now
Makes
getting
up
to
for some of the
Warriors.
bad
So now
times.
they recommended Vinny to you guys.
Yeah, John Fana quit New England for family reasons, and we've been doing good. We were doing one-nighters. We go to Maine, play with Ramones one night, go down to Orphan, Boston, play with um, the Joe Perry Project or Nazareth or something like that,
Mm.
and doing great. We're in the black. We had no expenses. We didn't have any tour buses. All our guys lived in Massachusetts. We got rid of all the out-of-state personnel at one point. No more hotels for crew people and out-of-state phone calls and all that. Narrowed it down, doing great. And John quit the band, going, great, now what? And we had a bunch of guys. We called up all the guitar companies and everybody we knew. And we had guys like Charlie Hune from uh, Newton's
Nugent.
band, Mike Slamer from the band City Boy in England wanted to come check us out. Kerry Schraff was playing Billy Squire. Um, and Gene rang up and he said, we got a guy out here in LA that might be good for you guys. We needed a guy that could write songs, play great lead guitar, and sing, all three things. It's hard to find in any musician, very hard to find. And so we got a guy here writing with us on a new record, and they were having a problem. They thought he was too short to be in the band. He said, "You guys can have him." So he hooked us up, and Vinnie Vincent came to Boston to audition for us. And he had been in Dan Hartman's band, played on Replay, and
Yep.
he had been in Laura Nyro's band way before that. Played with Felix Cavalier from the Rascals. He played Edgar Winter. And he was working with Happy Days at Paramount Studios in LA for the TV show. And he flew to Boston and sent us a demo tape, and it was really good stuff. It was like Heavy Foreigner. We thought, this is great. This is right to the radio. This is no problem, you know. Learn the stuff was pretty good. I mean, we learned his stuff just for fun while we were waiting for this to happen. He didn't know that. And he flew to Boston, came down to our place and plugged in. And he played our stuff pretty well. And then we turned around and played his stuff. And he blew his mind. He's going, I can't believe how good this sounds. He goes, you guys, there's nobody in LA plays like you guys. What are we going to do about this? And we said, let's sleep on it. So the next day or two, we decided, let's just drop the whole New England thing and start a new band. And we had some connections in LA. Jimmy had an aunt where he could stay at her house, and a lawyer would pay for some rehearsing. So we did that. We started rehearsing with Vinny with his music. And at night, he'd be with Gene and Paul at the record plant at nighttime working on Kiss music. And went along for about a month or two like that. And we're doing pretty good. And then the guys in Kiss decided he could be in a band. So it's like you want to make a lot of money every week or hope your band gets signed next month. Just had twins. His wife just had two babies, you know, stone broke, living in the hills in LA. Everybody was stone broke. So, I mean, nothing to sniff at. 3 or 4 grand a week back then to start. Sure. I'm in.
Yeah, sure.
So we lose him. He goes to Kiss. And now it's the three of us again. And Jimmy Wall and I decided to stay in LA and play hardball. There was no reason to go back to Boston. And that eventually became Alcatrazz, that we were able to start that up with Graham Bonnet through networking and being at the right place and all that.
How did Graham get on your radar?
I had an ad in a band magazine, which is a free music magazine. And my friend Michael Monarch from Steppenwolf, from Detective, he said, "You're just going to get crank phone calls, man. Don't do that." And I said,
Sure.
"Well, answer me one question. They ad free?" And he goes, "Yeah." So I'm going to put ad in the paper. So I put, you know, X name bass player seeks a recording band or tour. And I got a bunch of phone calls, about 50 or 60 phone calls of people who are in local bands and hoping to get, you know, new four people to get an audition at the Troubadour, or new Joey Baloney at this label or something. It's like, yeah, whatever. And one night the phone rings, this English voice starts screaming at me like, "Who are you?" You know. And it was Andy Truman, his manager. He had worked for ELO and Jethro Tull, Robert Palmer, managed Bay City Rollers. And he was Graham Bonnet's neighbor. So they want to put a band together, not a backup band, but a band. Because Graham's not a leader kind of guy. He just wants to be in the band. So we did that. It's me and Jimmy and Graham and Andy, the manager. And eventually we hired Ingve and Janie Veen to play drums. We got a record deal just on who we were, which was pretty outstanding at the time, not to have a demo tape. And that became Alcatrazz.
Well, can you talk about, you had auditions though for the drumming, and Clive Burr actually came down from Iron Maiden
Yeah,
at the time. So
yeah.
he just didn't fit the style of what you guys were looking for? Because I mean, he was a name at the time. I thought maybe that would
Right.
have been a push for you guys to have. I don't know if a lot of people know that Clive Burr actually auditioned for Alcatrazz. That's a big name.
Well, I see out there in social media land, he was in the band for a while. And it's like, no, he just merely auditioned for us one Saturday afternoon, and he wasn't really getting what we wanted to have happen. And later on, we found he was kind of sick, and eventually the poor guy, died from medical reasons, not from rock and roll lifestyle, but from other medical problems he
Yeah,
had.
yeah.
And maybe that contributed to his lethargic kind of thing, but he wasn't up to snuff at what we wanted to do.
Okay.
And we passed. And the manager, of course, wanted that to happen really bad. Rainbow, Iron Maiden, New England, I can sell this. You gotta get this guy in the band. It's like, yeah, but you gotta get the right guy in the band. It's gotta be the right chemistry to be in the band. We're the ones got to get stuff together into a tour bus for 3 months and live
Mhm.
together.
Right.
Got to be the right guys, and we had auditioned. The first guitar player audition was Lawrence Jubar from Wings, and if Nathan could be further from being wrong, that would be it. We didn't even think he was the guy at first. A little guy with short hair and a little guitar
Hmm.
and a little teeny amps. It's, hey, Lawrence Jubar's come down. You better get lost, buddy.
Right.
And it was him. He goes, "Hello, I'm Lawrence." Like, oh no. And we played a song called SOS off one of Graham's solo records, which had
Hmm.
Cozy Powell playing drums. And I think it was another Rod Argent song. It's a great song. And the first thing Lawrence said was, "Can you guys turn down?" We said, "Wrong guy,
Oh boy.
wrong guy." And of course, Andy's going, "That's it, Wings, Rainbow, New England, I can sell this." Going, "No, no, and no." And the next day we auditioned Ingve. Because Andy had found out from a friend at a record store that Ingve was in this band Steeler, and he was pretty hot. So Andy called him, and Ingve thought it was a prank phone call because he was a serious Richie Blackmore freak and Rainbow and Deep Purple and all that stuff. Couldn't believe that he'd meet Graham Bonnet. And he did. He came down and played for us, and he played all those songs perfectly. And he picked any song, he knew all that stuff, fit right in. So we got a guitar player. And drummers were real hard to find. We auditioned about 7 or 8 drummers. Ainsley Dunbar came down to play for us, which was really cool. Uh, Bill Lorden from Robin Trower's band was in the band for a couple of
He's
weeks.
a great drummer too, Bill Warden.
Yeah, he played a Sly and the Family Stone and
Yep.
Robin Trower, no slouch there. He could
Yeah.
be funky, he could be hard.
I loved him as a drummer.
Yeah, and he was a great guy. But he had a faith band going on. He wanted to go to Israel to do something, and he chose to go to Israel with his religious band and do that. And so that didn't work out. We had John High from the band Detective, who's the closest thing to John Baum. Everybody says the closest thing would be John High from Detective. Scott nailed it. But we wanted a double bass drummer. John was a good friend of mine. We've been friends now for 10 years from England, but he didn't play double bass drum, so that wasn't going to work out. Um, Ed Cassidy from Spirit played with us.
That's interesting.
Yeah, with the big drums, and the
Yeah.
whole head. He was really, really a great guy. Of course, that didn't work. Anybody thought that was just bizarre. He couldn't process that. He didn't know who Spirit was, for starters.
Right.
He had no idea any of that stuff. And Brush Garbage, he never heard any of that stuff. So,
Let me
so
ask you, Gary.
and we got Genuine.
Let me ask you when the idea of Graham coming into it. Now, did you hear about the story about him at Reading with Shanker
Oh,
and
yeah.
him? So, was there any trepidation or cautiousness to start a band with him itself in the beginning?
A little bit. It got even better after that. And he would have parties with some of the Rainbow Crew guys, and they said, "You guys, you have no idea. You guys, oh, you wait till you will find out." They just said he was just bonkers. So you're going to find out the hard way. We said, "Oh, no, no, he's okay. He's okay. He's been fine." And he managed to do a few loopy things in the time we're together for sure.
Hmm.
And that's Graham. That's his MO. He's his own worst enemy. Unfortunately, he's got an amazing voice, but he's his own worst enemy when it comes to business and doing things for your career. Simple things. I mean, you can't get out of the car. It's like go. So he's got that. But yeah, we were warned. And he did some real fun stuff.
I mean, for
And
Gary,
us,
I wanted. Oh, go ahead, Paul. I'm
no, I
sorry.
was just saying, right at this time. I said, for us, it was thank God it happened because I mean, we cherish those
Yeah,
albums. I mean, to this
yeah,
day, still in rotation in my life.
yeah. He's got an
You
amazing
know,
voice. He's one of my favorite singers. I mean, no one sings like Graham Bonnet, and all the guys are out there. There's a lot of great singers, rock singers at front, very famous bands, but most of them sing in their head. Graham sings from his chest, and he's got an amazing voice. He can do all three harmony parts, any Beatles song, any Beach Boys song, you name it, he can sing it. And and he's a very interesting guy. He's very, very musical and talented, plays guitar, plays bass well. And and when we did the first record, he was doing some harmony parts in the song General Hospital. They were like Jack Bruce. And Jim and I was getting shares going, it sounds like Jack Bruce. That's so damn cool. It's ridiculous. And anybody does at that point didn't know who Jack Bruce was. They could care less, you know. And I
what was it
thought,
like 19 years old? When
yeah,
you got him,
yeah, fresh out of the fjords in Sweden.
right?
And it's like, Jesus, he didn't get it. And I said, that's, Graham, he knows all those guys. I mean, he was with the Bee Gees when he was 16, 17 years old. His
Hmm.
cousin played the Bee Gees, and
Right.
his big hit song was written by the Bee Gees. And he knew Robert Stigwood and everything, had solo records and everything. That's how he got in Rainbow. They'd heard Richie Blackmore had heard him. So get that guy, go find him.
Yeah.
And that's how I got in Rainbow. And uh, so he's a pretty interesting guy, hard to work with. And then, of course, Yngwie decided he was going to become harder to work with, and that became very difficult for everyone involved.
Gary, what was the writing process of that album? At the time, the songs were so different from anything else, like the lyrical content and the sound of the band was to me very groundbreaking. I remember I bought this album when it came out, and at first I couldn't. It took me a while to digest it and really see the brilliance in it. And it
Right.
has stood up to me. To this day, I agree with Paul. It's an album that the first two I play regularly, and it really was so different in every sense. How did that all come together? What created this masterpiece?
Well, we wanted a European sounding band. I'm a big Rainbow fan too, Deep Purple fan. I mean, after the Who, Deep Purple to me is one of the best bands out there. Um, Whatever the lineup is, it's a great band. And like Michael Schenker Group, you know, and as opposed to being a blues band or a party band or any of that stuff. We weren't trying to be the next Rolling Stones and wear tons of scars and be drunk all the time and do that rock and roll thing. And Graham had a bunch of songs, like General Hospital was his song. And he and Jimmy got together in his garage before we met Yngwie and worked on some songs. So we started off as a garage band. So we're in his garage, he's got acoustic guitars and playing General Hospital, and the lick goes doom, 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 doom. So we called it plunk, plunk. That was the working title of that song called plunk, 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 plunk. And we worked on that. It was pretty cool. And Jimmy had Island in the Sun, which was a New England song, would have been on the fourth New England album, had we done the fourth album.
Hmm,
It was called
interesting.
Take Another Ride. So if you go to the New England 5 CD um, box set that we put out as New England on Cherry Red Records, that song's in there. You can hear the demo. It's called Take Another Ride and listen to it. And it's the music for Island of the Sun. So what Graham did was take the lyrics and change them and write about being in Alcatrazz prison, an island in the sun,
Hmm.
and 5 by 9 foot rooms and all that. And when Yngwie came in, Yngwie wrote the bridge, the da 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 da. That was his part to that. So there are a lot of three-way things. And unfortunately, Andy thought it would be cool to have all the songwriting credits be BMW. So it'd be Bonnet, Malmsteen, Waldo, even though Jimmy's song wrote the song. You have different percentages on the songwriting credits, 60%, 40%, whatever,
Hmm.
who does what. But it made it look like no one else had anything to do with the songwriting. And of course, Ingve comes along and goes, "Yeah, man, when I joined them, I had all these demands. They had to fire the drummer and do all of my songs." And it's like, well, I got news for you. When you joined a band, you were just turned 20 and you were in awe to be in the same room with Graham and the rest of the guys. That you were just really mellow. You were like, couldn't believe yourself every day you were in rehearsal, and you were really nice. And the other thing is that we had no drummer for a month when you joined the band. There was no drummer to fire. What are you talking about? In
They make history as they go
2026,
Was he
along.
referring to Uvina? He didn't want Uvina in the band?
I don't know what he's talking about. We had no drummer.
Okay.
He didn't join our.
Uvina's a great drummer.
Yeah, yeah, he is a great drummer. And and it was like, what are you talking about? It's 2026. We had no drummer. You fired the drummer. What are you talking about? God, he's such a crazy. So I'm out to change some of that, call them mythbusters. And it's just, I say it enough times and people start believing it. Clive's in the band for a month or something, or and Ingve did this, Ingve did that. He says, yeah, man, that was I consider it my first solo record. Solo record, my ass. You were so
Yeah.
amazed to be in that band, you went from here to here overnight
Right.
to play with us. And of course, Jan had been with Alice Cooper,
Hmm.
done a lot of things. And we all agreed he was a great drummer. That's how he got the gig. But there was no drummer.
Right.
He's out there. I wrote all the songs. Oh, you wrote all the keyboard parts. You wrote all the vocal parts. You wrote all the lyrics. You didn't write any lyrics. Graham wrote the lyrics. And Graham writes very interesting lyrics.
He
He's
certainly does.
very clever. The only problem is sometimes he's too clever and it goes over the heads of the average person if you give love a bad name. He can't do that kind of thing. And it's like we should do some of that because that gets us a little into the radio, which we
But
could
this
use
was
that.
really thinking man's rock, at a
Yeah,
time when there wasn't that much hard rock
right,
that
right,
really made you listen to the lyrics and have to figure out the song. I
right,
think it was kind of the thing for me that
right.
really drew me in.
Yeah, Graham coined the term thinking man's heavy metal.
Yeah, it was.
And it's
It really drew you in, and I could.
right.
To me, it separated Alcatrazz from every other band,
Yeah.
especially at that time.
Jet to Jet's about English colonialism in Africa.
I didn't know that because that's another
Well,
song I never
the white
quite.
man's the white man's burden is a boombox.
Right.
Black man's burden's on his shoulders. Something about
Is
boomboxes.
that? Oh, wow. I never knew that.
Oh yeah. God bless video. He's taking a rant on all the MTV bands that there's so many of them. Just give them an English accent and put them on some cool clothes and boom, they're stars. So
Yeah.
God must have blessed this.
Right.
God must have blessed the video because it's so fucked up. And it was an anti-romantic band song, and everybody thought it was a Christian song. And they wouldn't play it, so we got screwed on that deal too.
Yeah, because of the title.
Right.
They Yeah, they thought it was a religious thing, and the rock radio wouldn't play "God Bless Video." It's like, oh God, one more time, record company, more brilliance. So yeah,
I
that
will say
happened.
one thing about Malmsteen on that first record. To this day, I still think it's the best playing he ever did because he didn't
Oh,
overplay and he played
yep,
for the songs.
exactly. I say that every time. You're exactly correct. It's exactly, and Steve Vai as well on our
Hmm.
Disturbing the Peace record, that they were reined in by the band. They weren't solo guitar players out there, sure, but look how
Right.
fast I can play. Look, I can
Right.
do this and that. Play to the songs, and anybody plays some really cool stuff. And the whole thing together worked. When Jim and I had done 3 albums, we'd work with Todd Rundgren, we'd play on the Kiss tours, and it's always that, well, who are those guys? Well, maybe you should find out. Who
Right.
we are.
Right. Do
You
your
think we're
homework.
there because we just happened, we're, cab drivers that happen to be down the street or something? I said, you know, I said, give us a little bit of cred here and there.
Yeah.
And you
That,
guys were lucky that you were in the infancy of MTV at the time too, so you were able to promote. Because I, remember seeing "Island in the Sun" as your first single,
Hmm.
right,
out
right.
there, and it was in pretty much a lot of heavy rotation too
Yeah,
at
no
the time.
doubt.
And it's funny that where I came from more of a heavier side of listening to music, and I was more drawn to Too Drunk to Live, and Jet to Jet, and then you hear, but as I matured now, I love Star Car Lane. I love General Hospital. I love
Right,
Bigfoot. You know what I mean? Now you really,
right,
now the nuances of those songs, it takes a mature mind, Gary, in the long run
right,
to
right,
appreciate certain things. And
right.
and and when we get to the Vice stuff, I'm enthralled with Disturbing the Peace. I mean, oh my God, that is a masterpiece. It is a masterpiece, you
Thanks.
know. So you guys go off so we'll get to the touring wise. So now is Ingve becoming difficult as time goes on? Because like you said, the live sentence we see here is that he didn't even want to put out the live second sentence. Is that true?
No, he didn't
See,
want to
like
put out.
it's
Of course, he didn't
he
want to
had
put out.
he had control over that.
Yeah, you're right. He did. You know, it's like in your dreams. I mean, we we did we had to actually go into the studio on the way out of Japan to fix up a lot of the guitar spots because see guitars up in the air, guitars on the floor. Is anybody playing the guitar over there? Hello, stage left.
It was all being showy at the time.
And he's back there, the roadie, changing 20 guitars. Play, just pick one and play the whole song with it. Come on.
Did he
So that,
progress into that, Gary?
oh yeah, he got worse and worse. And Andy, the manager, started feeding his head that he's the next thing since sliced bread, and he started becoming difficult to work with. And Graham was just as difficult. And we, I'll tell you a great story. We we played New Year's Eve in in Richfield Coliseum in Cleveland with Eddie Money and Saga. We had a short 5, 6 date tour together. One of our first times we toured as a band as Alcatrazz, right in the very beginning. And it went well, doing great. It's New Year's Eve. We're at Richfield Coliseum where Jim and I had played with Kiss before. and and people are coming in. It's New Year's Eve. It's all going good. We're playing maybe 9 songs or something. Graham walked up to me with 2 more songs to go and said, I can't hear myself. I'm leaving. And I said, huh? And he leaves. He just goes off into the dark in the back of the stage and the arena just disappears in the dark. I'm going, whoa. And I go to Ingve and when the lights went down, I said, we got to play 2 songs as instrumentals because Graham just left the room. So go for it.
Was Evil Eye done already?
I don't remember what we did, but we played these 2 songs and the people are kind of like, huh? They knew something was wrong. They couldn't figure out what was wrong.
I,
Yeah.
And at the end, Jimmy goes, yeah, Happy New Year. And the guy's going, and we're just running, run. We go to the dressing room and all hell broke loose. Anyway, took a swing at Graham and connected. Jimmy wanted to kill Graham worse than that, but Andy blocked his swing. I was third. Graham was drunk. And it turns out the next day that he had gone off the stage, off the back of the stage in the dark and landed on row cases and broke 2 ribs.
Oh.
So now we fly back to LA and our boys got 2 cracked ribs and
yeah.
it's he messed up. I love you guys. I love you guys. Yeah, 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 yeah. Don't do shit like that. And he had a heart attack, couldn't believe it. Say, hey, welcome to the big league.
Yep.
Wow.
The nightmares increase as we go further up the tree here. And I've never seen anything like that myself. I've never witnessed anything like that myself. I've played in bands of guys being drunk here and there or something, but that was beyond bizarre. But then Ingve started just running around.
Now, are you
So
looking at each other going, I think we got to get rid of him?
yeah. Um, well, Ingve Graham in Japan, his ego clashed with the young Ingve. That Graham's used to be in the center of attention. He wasn't used to somebody else getting all the attention. So that was not going right. And Graham wanted to change guitar players. And we thought, let's not do that. And then we thought about it as things kept going worse. So, well, we have to change guitar players. There's not gonna be a second record. It's just getting into a bad situation. So we made some phone calls and auditioned a few guys. Unbeknownst to Ingve, he didn't quit the band. He was replaced by Steve Vai. We auditioned Steve Vai one afternoon, told Ingve there was nothing going on, no interviews to do, just to home his girlfriend and change guitar necks and all that stuff. And we went to Burbank Studios and auditioned Kristen Pelletieri, who's a very good guitarist,
Great guitar player.
and Steve, who just got done playing with the Frank Zappa band for 7 albums. Had our whole back line set up, and we played. And Kristen Pelletier is really, really great, very Ingve-ish. And we thought maybe we don't want a clone to that. We want to try something else. And Steve was the guy. Quirky. There's something about the way he played was pretty cool. And he had great rhythm. And he was playing the guitar in the verses like that hadn't been done for the last 6 months. And Ingve's just soloing through the verses, soloing through the chorus, soloing through the bridge. Still sold the songs ended. He's still playing. I was like,
Right.
stop. And Steve was seasoned player. He knew what had to be done. And so we went to the record company and said, we are changing guys. And they didn't care if Ingve was in a band or not. They just said, well, you just did a record with this guy. People are expecting to see him on the road. So don't make the change until you do the next album. And we said, okay, we can agree to that. So now we're going to go on a road with Night Ranger and a big tour with Ted Nugent, knowing that the whole time we're doing these shows and all hell's going to break loose at Ingve, is that Steve Vai is back at his house writing songs for another record.
Wow.
And when we do get through this whole tour and get back home to LA, we're going to start this new record, and it's going to be a major change. And it was. The two records are kind of opposed. They're both really, really good. I'm proud of both of them. And they are what they are. And for me, musically, it was a great time to be playing with those guys. And we made some great music, you know.
Amazing.
Now,
Amazing.
was there any
Painted
truth to the
Lover.
fact that Graham Bonnet wanted Impellitteri and the rest of the band wanted Steve Vai? Because that's something that's been out there. I've read in books.
Not really. He wasn't quite sure about Steve. He wasn't quite sure about Chris either. He wound
Oh,
up doing a record with Chris and Pelletier years
oh yeah.
later.
Yeah. Stand
Uh,
in line.
yeah, and Chris plays on our, I don't know, whatever, Alcatrazz record, Born Innocent, as a guest player. We did 5 years ago. So Chris is still a good friend, but we went with Steve, and
We talk about working with Eddie Kramer in the studio.
we were lucky on the Ted Nugent tour. We played in we were someplace upstate New York, Poughkeepsie or someplace, and Eddie was living up in Woodstock, and he came to see us. So he got to see us live, which is really cool for a producer to see a band they're going to produce in a studio in a live format to see what the band's all about. So we got a chance to be friends, and he's got the best stories in the world. I mean, he's got
Oh,
4 pages of credits from Led Zeppelin to the Beatles, you name it. He's been in the studio with those guys all the way back to Love Potion #9 with the Searchers, you know. And great, of course, all the best Jimi Hendrix stories. I mean, he designed Electric Light in Studios. He was there, and all that stuff happened. He's a walking rock encyclopedia, and he's a great producer. So we were lucky to get him. So when the time did come to do the next record, we switched labels. We went to Capitol Records, and Rockshire Records ran into the rocks with the FBI. And a lot of people went to jail over that. And we got out of that and got to Capitol, which is great. Kind of a clean slate. Ingve went off. He got off record, but offered an EP in Japan on our first Japan tour as being part of Alcatrazz, a 4-song instrumental EP. So when we changed guys, Andy went to our label in Japan and made it into a solo record deal.
Okay.
So they turned into a full album.
Mm-hmm. And that went with Polydor.
Yeah, and that's how that came about, because it was supposed to be just a 4-song EP. So they stretched it out, and they called some of his friends from Sweden who weren't being his band, and they became Rising Force, and we started working with Steve.
Was he shocked, or did he see the writing on the wall himself, or he was just ready to go and start his own
Oh, he
career?
just figures he quit the band like the second he joined the band. I don't know what he thinks. All I know is he was unaware because I would just chuckle myself sometimes, just going, fine, you know, I can wait till, it's July. I can wait till September. I know it's coming up.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we're going to change guys and we're going to play. I want to play music. I want to play music with mature people. I want to be babysitting people. 30 years old. I'm too old for that.
And Steve changed the whole attitude, I'm sure,
Oh yeah,
with
seriously
everything, right?
professional. Yeah,
Even Graham was in good spirits having Steve in, or was he a
yeah,
little?
yeah. No, Graham got into it. Wrote some great stuff. I mean, I love a lot of Graham's lyrics. You mentioned um, oh, oh
Skyfire, Painted Lover, Stripper, I
uh,
love.
the one about his grandfather chasing rabbits through the field. Uh, God, I can't think of the stupid song.
Wire in the Wood.
Star Car Lane.
Oh,
Oh,
stuck.
Star Carlene.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
To me, the music to that when I heard it, I said, this is right. This is Scorpionville. This is a great, one of the best
There's like Uli. It was
FM.
an Uli John Roth feel to it. It
Yeah,
definitely
it was
has.
a great radio sounding song. This would be a great single. Island sung this song together, and Graham goes and writes lyrics about his grandfather chasing rabbits through the field. Going, what the hell are you doing? And no producer would say boo to him about changing it. And it's like that's crazy. And to me, he destroyed the song. The lyrics are not good in that song. The song is a great song. Da 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 da. It's very melodic. And Graham just botched that up. And he did the same thing in a couple other songs too down the line. That's just the way he is. And he's writing about polar bears. We get to the 21st century now. He's writing about polar bears instead of the Krina tribe out there in New Guinea someplace. And on the first album,
That Polar Bear song was good, though, I thought.
yeah,
I mean,
I mean, it
the
is great.
lyrics were all
It is
quirky, but
great. It just doesn't appeal to the common, I, he, you, she,
yeah,
it
right,
stuff.
Yeah, but for every polar bear, you got Hiroshima Mon Amour too, which is
right.
Yeah, and that
epic.
was cool too.
You know.
You know,
So
and yeah, so you had to put it together because some of the songs like Mercy and Will You Be Home Tonight was great lyrics. So we moved on to Steve and with Eddie and made another record.
Now, you guys came out with a DVD for that. Yeah, at the time it was a cassette, a
for
video
both
cassette.
tours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but for the second one, to me it seemed that and of course you could answer it. Uh, Bonnet seemed that he had a better like stage rapport with Steve than he did Malmsteen. Would that be accurate?
Yeah, well, Steve was paying attention. Yngwie was in his own world. He was like, whatever. He did this Richie Blackmore thing. He Graham kept telling him that Richie Blackmore is a shy guy, and he looks kind of stern, but he's quiet and shy. He's not a mean guy. Yngwie took that to be going to be mean and
Right,
that whole thing. Let's stop doing that. Come
right.
on, lighten up, pal. He looked at me one night and he pointed like, I'm going to start playing this song now from the director is going to tell me when to come in. I said, if you ever do that again, I'll kill you. I'll fucking kill you.
He was conducting.
Yeah. He did this look and this point at me at some point in one of the shows after stage in the backstage. I said, ever, ever, ever do that, I will kill you. He never did it again.
I mean, well, this is a guy that's 20 years old, and I mean, you guys are
Yeah.
like grown men, and he's
Yeah.
being like,
Yeah. Baby steps.
yeah.
It's like, oh God. Everything's a trade-off, trade-off all these things. But we got into the second record and that was great. I
I
thought,
mean, sales were good. You guys were headlining. You're doing more European than American dates, though, right? With Steve.
with Steve, we didn't play that much. We played some South. West shows, and that was about it. We played Japan, we played the Southwest, and he got the Roth call. And I want to
Right.
join David Lee Roth. I can say no to that. Same with Vinny joining. So we lose a guy to Kiss. Now we lose a guy to David Lee Roth.
Yeah.
Tell me we got bad guitar players. These guys can get any place, anybody they want in the world. They get our guys.
Right.
So me and Jimmy are not chopped liver. Thank you very much.
Right.
So
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 was
that
the
happened.
tour shortened itself, or did you play all the dates you were supposed to be committed to
No, we played
on
all the
that?
shows we were supposed to. Um, um, it just worked out, and the record wasn't going anywhere because our manager was now spending all his time with Ingve. And I said to him, I said, you got the two best guitar players on the planet. How come you're not promoting Steve? And he couldn't promote Steve because he was saying Ingve is God and there can only be one God, right?
Oh, Jesus.
So Steve I gets the back door. And I said to him, making a big mistake. Steve is going to do great without us. These guy's a talented guy. He's going to do great. You're being silly by not giving equal time to both of them. You could do it. And he wouldn't listen to me. And so Steve got, again, all the guys that David Lee Roth can play to replace Eddie Van Halen. He called Steve. I didn't call Ingve.
That's right.
Right.
So,
He got the
um,
greatest bass player and the greatest guitar player at that time to be in his band
yeah,
to go up against the Van Hagar team.
yeah, yeah. So, I mean, he had to get guys who could play over the top, like
Right.
Billy, and they did. And that was all cool. Because the second record never got promoted. We didn't do any big tours with anybody because Andy was too busy in Europe, but babysitting Ingve every night. We had a lineup of 30 dates with Alcatrazz and Uli Roth together. And every night we'd flip the headlining spot. One night we'd headline, next night they headline. And we thought, how cool would that be with Steve Vai and Uli on stage together?
Yeah.
And we saw Uli one night down in Long Beach, and he was just awesome. And our mouths were like, oh,
He still is, believe it or not. He's
yeah, yeah,
touring currently.
yeah. He's a great guy. He's got just,
Yeah.
he's got 32 frets on his guitar, Sky
Hmm.
guitars. He came to Jimmy's apartment that night, and we hung out and partied and stuff. And we thought, how cool is this? We're gonna do it. And both managers, Andy, our manager, and Louis' manager, botched it up, and it didn't happen. And it didn't happen. And I was like, that sucks. That could have been cool. And again, Capitals kept saying, where's your manager? We had to talk to your manager and talk about promotion and what we want to do here. And he wasn't returning phone calls and just letting us wither on the vine to promote Ingve because he knew
Should have fired his
he,
ass.
yeah, well, that happened too, but too late, too soon. And it was just a big mess at that point.
So
It
now
got
you're down a
messier and
guitar
messier.
player,
And then
and what's the attitude of the band now? Steve leaving the band, like we got to replace. Here we go again. We're
oh yeah,
back to
yeah,
square
here we go
one.
again. Right. But when we made the record, it came out. We were really happy with Disturbing the Peace. We thought this is great. I mean, who sounds like this? You could say in the first record we're copying Michael Schenker or Richie Blackmore or something. But in the second record, it's like, where are the influences coming out of this thing? This is strange.
That was it
It's
was brown.
It
That
was
was
a
a
hot out.
groundbreaking record.
It was a hot album around our neighborhoods and stuff.
Yeah.
Believe me,
uh,
it was selling around here. We were told it was being spoken about a lot, Gary. It really
Yes.
was.
right. I mean, Mercy was a song about the killing of the Bengal tigers from the tigers' point of view. And I was given the task on a Sunday of going out into West Hollywood and finding Hindu lyrics for the second verse of Mercy. So you listen to the song, Grandma's singing in Indian.
Hmm.
Hey, nay, na, na,
Yeah.
na. This was actually words, which is brother, sun, and sister moon in Hindu. And I went to all these uh, Indian restaurants and Indian gift shops, and I found some people at a gift shop eventually. And And I said, here's the songs, and how do you say sister? And it's like, 41 versions of Hindu to start with. What do you want? Which one? Anyone. It's got to sound like Hindu.
Right.
And we put it on the record. And it went over the heads of a lot of people. A lot of things we did were just right over the heads of a lot of people. They're going, oh, that's interesting. Like the
There really
boombox,
was.
like the boombox and Jet to Jet.
I'll open up with the sitar. It's
Yeah,
great.
and we had Steve had the Coral sitar, which belonged to Frank Zappa, was his guitar, and that had a whole different vibe to it. We did Desert Diamond, Love the Pyramids. Love that song.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Talk
that's
about
great.
heavy, and we always said that heavy's like heavy, like slow. Heavy's not heavy metal, fast and furious, and some
Right.
guys
Mhm.
scream about the devil. It's like everybody's doing that. It's all the same. And even Ingve was into that at that point, going, we don't want to do that. It all sounds the same. Everyone's wearing black, everyone's the devil, the Satan, this enough of that Dungeons and Dragons stuff. And anyway, so Graham's lyrics, of course, don't do that. We're over here now. And I love the Desert Diamond. And we were rehearsing that song with Eddie Kramer. And he walks in with Bobby Colomby, who had been the drummer for Blood, Sweat, and Tears. And Bobby was going to become some kind of video director for Capitol Records now. And so the two of those guys are sitting up there and watching us play. And Bobby says, I don't really want to get in your guys' stuff or anything, but I got a music idea for you. I went, well, here we go. And he said, during the solo, you're doing something like four times to make a simple explanation. You're doing something four times. The third time, how about not playing it and just have air? And then fourth time. And and I said, oh God, let me just write the first time. I know Steve's going to pull it off. And we did it. And it was cool. And it's on the record. So there's a rest in the solo. That was a suggestion from Bobby Colby from Blood, Sweat, and Tears.
Hmm.
So who would think
Interesting.
Blood, Sweat, and Tears got anything to do with Alcatrazz?
Right.
But that's Los Angeles. There's a lot of people coming and going in the hallways and the studios. You never know who's out in the hallway. It's
Even
good.
that break in Mercy too. That in the middle
Yeah.
part, and then
Dun,
goes right
dun, dun,
into
dun,
the.
dun.
Oh, so it's epic. It's epic, and then goes right into the guitar solo. It's
Right.
beautiful,
Yeah, and it
beautiful stuff.
sings into the guitar solo.
Yeah,
And then he goes, "Bloop, bloop, bloop," and then the fast stuff after, but it flows into it. So I
yeah.
mean,
Fi has great feeling. Great feeling.
and "Will You Be Home Tonight" was cool. It was a song about James Dean dying, and the idea was to have the bass be like a heartbeat, boom, boom,
Hmm.
boom, boom. So the bass stays the same through the whole song, pretty much, and everything else moves around it. And that was sort of the concept behind that. That was kind of cool.
It's awesome. So, like I said, so now Vi
Mike
leaves
Graham.
you, and now you look at each other. So now you start auditioning again, or is it Danny Johnson become the man automatically?
Oh no, we had to find more guys and go crazy thinking about who we're going to try to get. And it was tough. We asked a few guys. Some guys were other bands. Some guys are making a lot more money in other bands. Usual thing. And we had known Danny when he was in Rick Derringer's band, Jimmy and I. We actually saw him play with Rick Derringer in Massachusetts like 4 or 5 years before this. And before we had Alcatrazz together, we would go out and see bands in LA. And Danny had his own band called Danny and the Bandits. And they were tearing up the house, playing in Santa Monica and all the clubs. And uh, Vinny Appice, we were being managed by Wendy Dio at that point.
Oh wow.
And Vinny had played with Danny in the group Axis. They'd done a record. And he said, why don't you guys get Danny? He's a real good guitar player. So we called him. And he flew in from Shreveport, Louisiana, and played with us and said, this is different. It's just kind of like having Joe Perry join the band or something. Just kind of bluesy thing. It's gonna
Mhm.
be different. not going to be the same thing again. Maybe we don't do the same thing every time. Maybe the record's different. I don't know. So let's give it a shot. So we did the third record with Danny, which sounds again different than the other two records.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Still the same keyboard player, same bass player, same drummer, but we're going all these cats, same singer, just going on different guitar players, different versions of different variances of the theme, and it was interesting. It was it was
And was Danny comfortable doing the Yngwie stuff and the Vice stuff? Because, that was incorporated into the set list that when you guys were playing live.
yeah, no, he was it was to say terrified would be an
Oh yeah.
understatement.
I was very familiar with him. I was a huge Derringer and Edgar Winter fan. I'd seen him live. I was shocked when I found out you guys took him. Not
Right.
because he wasn't good. It was just so
Different.
from another world of what
Yeah,
you had done for
bluesy.
2 albums.
I mean, and he hung out to Johnny Winter and Edgar. I mean, he was a young kid. He was like Yngwie. He was 20
Yeah,
years old. And he caught the ear of Johnny Winter of all people. I mean, Johnny Winter was God at one point, way
he's
before.
always been God to me.
Yeah, he'll always be. And he's hit some great stuff. So yeah, Danny was coming from that world, and he was a nice guy. And we said, let's see what happens here. So
I
that
mean, I think
became
he took a big hit for the third album. Not being on the list. And honestly, as a fan, I thought the material on the album just was not up to snuff of the first 2 albums.
me either.
Glad you said that.
I was they the thing went so far away from having a Guitar Hero that it turned into some kind of poppy band,
Yeah,
and I was not thrilled with some of the stuff. And Capitol came along and said, we want you to think about doing some outside material from Bryan Adams. They just came off the Heart thing, and I was friends with um, Mark Andes, played bass for Heart, been in Spirit, Firefall, great guy, great bass player. And they had done their album was so successful, they toured the world 3 whole times. Back to France, back to Japan, back to Italy, around the country, you know, like 90 gigs 3 times on one record. And they didn't write half the songs. They were outside songwriters. And Capitol said, we can do the same thing for you guys. We want to do the same thing for you guys. We want to see you guys do great. You do great, we all do great. And Graham just shut up the steel door and said, no, not doing it. I have to write all the lyrics. But so say you own 100% writing the lyrics, but the song never gets out the door. Quits 100% of
Right.
that.
0-0.
Yeah, I'd rather have 10% of a hit record than zero of your own song. He didn't see it that way. And it eventually led to Capitol dropping the band. They got that bad. So we did some cover songs, and even that didn't come out the way I envisioned it being, it's my love, it's my life, FON die, heavy. And it comes out, it's my life and I'll do what I want.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a
Three,
brutal way to
two,
start the album.
three.
It really
Yes.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, and Richie Podler, who produced it, great guy, session guitar player in the 60s and 70s, produced Three Dog Night and a lot of things. But he was an older guy and he just didn't have that rock edge going.
Right.
He wanted to be, no doubling any guitar solos, no crazy. There's no guitar on the record. They phased out the guitar and everything. It's just these keyboard thingies.
Hmm.
And Graham, writing about Ohio, Tokyo. Ohio is a Japanese saying, good night. And Graham thought it was kind of cool. It's an Ohio in America, and Ohio is a Japanese phrase, Ohio, Ohio. And the song makes no sense. And it's like, what are you singing about? You know, and then
Blue Boar too was like,
yeah, that's the Blue Boar is a truck stop. Some restaurants in the Midlands in England that the English bands stop at, and on their freeway system means nothing to anybody in Kansas.
Right.
And again, it's like, no. And then only one woman, it's like they resurrected that from the
Oh God.
60s.
Yeah,
It's like this is in 3/4. This is like a waltz.
it is.
It's a waltz.
It is.
It's oh God, it's Lawrence Welk. Come on. Papa,
All we needed was the
oh.
bubbles.
Yeah. It's like I was thinking of leaving the band. It's like this is
I don't blame you.
I gotta rock. I can't this is you know but it just disintegrated before I even had a chance to do that. And that's what happened. We went out and toured on that record playing clubs and again, no promotion from Capitol. There was nothing to really promote. Didn't really have a great single, nothing really strong enough. We did No Imagination, which is one of the more rocking things.
Yeah.
And uh, my my girlfriend gave birth to a baby in the recording of that song. I was at the hospital watching the baby be born, and 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 I came into the studio after that with the scrub gear on and running around like the Three Stooges, Dr. Howard, Dr. Fine, Dr. Howard, and I'm running around like an idiot. And and I was saying, we want you to play a scratch track on No Imagination because Ray Tuscan from Capitol is going to come down to hear it tonight. We need a bass track on it. So I'm going, what's a bass? I just saw a baby come out of my girlfriend. I mean, my mind is blown. I mean, I can't think about playing the wet. So I played the bass. We came back to it like a month and a half later, review it. And just the first four notes I had punched it, da 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 da. Well, I rushed it or something. Then I, snapped into it. No? So that whole song was done the morning my daughter was born. Well, that's pretty cool. It's a good birthday present.
Mm.
And it's the original track. It's not wasn't done like 2 months later or scratched. It's the original track. But even then, that song it just didn't have any bounce to it. We went out with the Jefferson Starship, and it was okay. We had some gigs, but again, Starship audience is kind of a fickle audience, older crowd, and not really heavy rock. They don't want to hear Jet to Jet with Danny Johnson trying to play it. and Steve was really cool with Danny. Steve uh, took Danny to his house and showed him all this stuff. It's like God bless Biddy, all the stops for the delays and all the things Steve was using. Here's all the settings and stuff, and here's the lick, and it goes like this and it goes like that. And that was pretty cool of Steve to do. And he showed Danny the Ingve stuff too. Some of this is that because Danny was not up on Uli Roth licks, just wasn't him. So that was three different records, same guys to an extent, different guitar players.
So
Danny was kind of the fall guy for that record. I remember at the time, there was more negative press as to him not being able to cover some of those leads
wasn't his
perfectly.
style.
Right, but in reality, as we just spoke for about 20 minutes, the album just wasn't good, and like he took the brunt of the hit, Danny.
Yeah, all the guitar freaks didn't respond to it. It could have done so much more. I mean, and he went on to play with private lighting with over at Van Halen house, and he and Eddie were great friends. I mean, he's a guitar hero. Danny's also a guitar hero, but you're right. He took a hit on that. It wasn't his fault.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if we have a myth buster here. Says here, Shea and Waldo leaving the band in early 1987. Bonnet has both claimed that they left on their own volition and that they were fired at Johnson behest.
Who said that?
That's in the wiki. That's in
Oh,
the Alcatrazz bio.
yeah. Well,
I said, is that the Mythbuster?
that Wikipedia thing's disgusting. Because Graham went out after we broke up with a couple of local guys and went to South America as a quartet and called it Alcatrazz. And those guys went in there and wrote all that Wikipedia crap. And to change anything in Wikipedia, it's like having to get a court order and three lawyers
Yeah.
to say, look, I'm the original member of the band, and that's a misstatement. You got to give them a blood sample and
Right.
Yeah.
all this other bullshit to change anything on Wikipedia. And I wish I could tear that thing off the face of the earth because everything on there is just bad. That was not Alcatrazz. That was Graham Bonnet with a couple of local guys. No keyboard player. They're flying in some tracks or something. Just, just terrible. And then Graham's just doing it, take the money and run. And he's saying, I didn't know how to get a hold of you guys. I'm 4 miles away from you, you knucklehead in Hollywood. You know where I am. Liar. God. So yeah, that happened too.
So where
So
did you go after the disbanding of Alcatraz, Gary? What happened with you?
I went to the North Pole.
Became an Eskimo?
Yeah.
with the polar bear.
I bought some Carhartts and moved to Michigan. Yeah, I went to Michigan for a while. Coming out of that, I played um, with Jonas Hansen, and Jonas was in Silver Mountain, which was the band that Yngwie got his guys from, Jens and his brother, who
Yes,
were
they did that
also in
album
Silver.
Shaking Brains.
Yeah, and they were also, serious Deep Purple fans. Everyone in
Hmm.
Sweden's a Deep Purple fan because Deep Purple's one of the first bands to play there, so they love
Right.
Deep Purple. Same with Japan. And so um, Jonas, I met Jonas, a great guy, played just like any of us. How did we
Oh
not
yeah.
meet you? Why didn't we meet you 2 years ago? You would have been perfect for the third record. You'd have been
Mm.
perfect for the first record.
Hmm.
I mean, great guy, mellow guy, played great, wrote great songs, same vein, everything. So we started playing together and we started recording together. And I got Janie Vina into it. The original drummer wasn't doing it right. I got Jan in it, so it was a three-piece thing. And there's a record out called, yeah, that's, there's an album called the Jonas Hansen Band #1. It's on YouTube out there. And we had Mike Stone from Queensryche singing on it.
Yeah, I actually have the CD. It's
Oh, do
quite
you?
good. Yeah.
Okay. You know what I'm talking about then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. It was a homemade thing. Jonas worked in the studio, had some free time, and we put that together on our own dime, rehearsing together and hanging out, had a great time, good guys. And the earthquake came along, Northridge earthquake. Bada boom, bada bing.
Mhm.
And 56 people died in my neighborhood. And I'd been in like 3 or 4 earthquakes. And of course, living in LA. And this earthquake was like something different. The house went up in the air about a foot and came
Really?
back down again. And then it did it a second time.
Wow.
Usually it just ripples,
Wow.
and shakes. And this was like something else. And our brand, our aquarium tipped over and and uh and the brand new TV dove into that. All the car alarms are going off. My gig was to go outside and turn the gas meter off as soon as possible.
Sure.
So I was doing that. And I had babies, and we were just in this chaos. And we spent 2 weeks in our car rather than stay in our apartment because it was 2,000 aftershocks. Usually it's like 20 aftershocks or something. This one had 2,000.
Jeez.
And we just start shaking again. You can't tell if it's going to happen again
Yeah.
massively or not. And my wife said, we're moving to Michigan. And I said, oh, really? All right, let's do that. So I did move to Michigan for a while. And Jimmy was playing with Bob Kulick, and they had Graham play with him again. And that turned out to be the same crazy thing. They get to Japan. Graham doesn't want to, supposed to have an MTV interview at noontime at 11 o'clock. He's in a hotel going, I want to go. I don't want to do it. We're in
That was
Tokyo.
Blackthorn.
Yeah, Bob Kulick wanted to kill him. And it's like, it's just crazy, crazy stuff. And I live in Florida now. And so since, and then New England started getting back together in like 2005, 2006, we started doing more shows, did some more recording, playing around. We played in Japan again. We played in the West Coast, East Coast. And that was going along great. And then this merge again with Graham for the new Alcatrazz started uh, 2018, 2019, around there somewhere.
Yeah, 2017.
Yeah.
But I can't go by what I'm reading.
So
Yeah, and you guys got together and did that Parole Denied, the Tokyo 2017. That's when you recorded that thing. We went on tour with Coronado and
yeah, yeah,
Lauren.
yeah. Yeah, there's a video of that.
Yeah.
That was good. Could get Conrad to play God Bless Video correctly though, but that's another story. I got it. No, you don't got it. Trust me. But that was cool. And Mark's a great drummer, and it was fun playing with him. So yeah, that brings us up right about now, getting back together again and playing.
And you had some health issues too, Gary, that made you stop playing for a little while?
Uh, I've had a few things wrong here and there, but I have a son-in-law that had some serious medical issues.
That you had to take care of?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so and I didn't want to jeopardize a tour. And I said, if something goes south, um, I have to leave. I'm not coming back tomorrow morning. I have to leave the whole time,
Yeah.
and that's going to botch up. We got us in girls' school, and we got 15, 25 people here that are banking on getting paid to do this. And if I bolt, now who's playing bass? And you can get another bass player, but it's going to screw things up, make it hard. So maybe you should get somebody else in the meantime, and I'll bow out for the moment. So I've been kind of bowing in and out. It's a lot easier. You
Yeah.
know, we did it. We toured the UK together. We toured Europe together. Had a great time.
And then COVID comes around.
Yeah,
And how'd you keep yourself busy during COVID?
well, that's the thing. We did the first records before that, and we had a 20-day tour set up at girls' school in Europe.
Right.
We had a festival in Belgium set up, and they were going to hire New England and Alcatrazz. So we had it set up that New England was going to play, and then Alcatrazz would play right after that. So Jim and I just stand there and get paid twice.
That's correct.
We thought, hey, that's pretty cool. Didn't happen. COVID came along, shot that out of the water. We played that classic rock festival again a couple of years later. So we made the first record with Graham, COVID, um, and then since it was COVID, we did the second record with Doogie. Got Doogie in the band, so we did the second record then. And then when that came out, we started touring again
Right.
up to now.
And are you going to be part of are you just going to do studio work? Or are you going to be part of the touring with Alcatraz upcoming?
No, and I never say never is my motto.
Okay.
Too soon to say. Never say never. I mean, it's been so up and down and hectic that I just know that never say never. Be patient, be persistent, and don't take no for an answer.
Yeah, I got to see
Things can
the Joe
change.
Stump version, and I
Ah,
like Joe a lot. Joe's a real New York guy,
yeah, he's a New Yorker.
plays great. Yeah, he's a pisser. We say he's a pisser over here.
So
You
just
know,
say, where are you
and
guys? You guys in New York?
we're both of us originally
Philadelphia.
from Brooklyn,
Okay.
and I live in Staten Island now, and Tom is in New Jersey.
Ah, cool.
Yeah, and now Giles is handling the vocal range of everything.
Right. Yeah. Another chapter there. And Warlord.
Yeah,
It's in like the three bands at the moment. A man with many
from
hats.
behind the scenes to the hardest working man in showbiz.
That's right. Good for him. He works really hard. He's a good guy.
And when did you do the book? When was the book published?
Came out last March.
Oh, good, brand new.
Yeah. So the
And
book
you can get
is,
it on Amazon.
yeah, Amazon, all bookstores, Barnes and Noble, any bookstore you can get it online, Apple. It's called No Parole. It's called No Base, No Party. Freudian slip
That
there.
was the tentative title.
Yeah, because my point is, you take the bass out of it, it's not heavy anymore.
Right.
You know, you can't have a party without the bass. That sounds kind of weak. Can't you go out in your car and turn the bass off your car radio? It sounds pretty
Hmm.
lame too.
Right.
Because a lot of people don't understand what the bass does or who bass players are. I think it's not the guitar. It's not a guitar. It's a whole different thing between the drums and
You're
all
the
the other guys.
backbone.
Yeah, and you're the rhythm. You know, you danced, everything you do, whether it's a country song or to the blues, or it's the bass you're bopping around to.
Right.
You know, not so much the piano solos. So, so yeah, I was approached by a company called Books We Love in Alberta, Canada. And they said, we're doing a series of musicians writing about the music business. Would you be interested in writing a book about your experiences? And at first I thought, yeah, I don't know if I can make a whole book about that. But then I thought about it, so I'll give it a shot. And it was great. I'm real happy with it. And
Thinking
they're
about
very
doing
happy.
audio?
Yeah, I have, it's all the above. It's audiobooks, it's on Kindle.
Okay.
And um, it was people said, oh, you should write, you got some funny stories, you should write a book. I said, yeah, sit down and write a book. But I did, took the time out. And what they didn't want, they had one thing, it was interesting. They had some musicians, I thought, whoa, this guy played with all these heavy duty Nashville heavy hitters, and he's going to smoke me. It turns out they didn't. A couple of other guys, uh, they didn't want to hear about my grandmother's chocolate chip recipe. They want to hear about the band. And I want to write about contracts and business deals and publishing and lawyers and getting sued and things. And that's the music business that, you don't really get that when you're in the audience or you're up and coming kid taking lessons for the first time.
Right.
What's in store for you when it comes to cutting up the publishing and where the real money is and all that stuff and all the bad stuff that goes with money in showbiz. And they cited my book as being a perfect example of what they were looking for. And I've sold enough copies to write a second book.
Oh,
So I'm
great.
working on the book right now, actually.
That's great.
So
And what's the subject matter still gonna be music?
you have to be music, and it's top secret at the moment.
Okay,
That's going to be a good one,
good.
and it's
Good.
going
You
to come
come back
out.
on for that one. Promote that one then,
It's
please.
going to come out in December if all goes well.
Great.
Yeah.
Any websites to promote, yeah, for people to reach out to you?
No, you can find me on Facebook though. You know, uh,
That's how I
post
found
things
you.
on there. Yeah, I have no real my own web. I had my own website for years and years and years, and just took it down. It's okay. So it's gone more simple. And like I said, the book's available on Amazon. I've got 45-star reviews, which I'm pretty proud about. And it covers a lot of ground, covers some of the stories we just talked about, some other ones,
Hmm.
influences and travels, like just talking about meeting people and networking with people and how things come together. So it's like, let's say there's a story. How do you buy a guitar at a department store and play Madison Square Garden? Because to us, the apex has always been the Garden. There's bigger venues and there's other places, but that's cool. I have
Excellent.
a great New England story. In New England, we played in Montreal at the Forum, and we had uh, done some promotion in Canada before that with CHOM and CHUM, the big FM stations in Toronto and Montreal. And Hirsch is from Toronto, so we had Canadian content, so we got our records played in Canada through that. And we'd done the Garden, we'd done a bunch of stuff with Kiss, and all was going great. And we played in Montreal, and the house was already packed when we got out there. And they announced, New England, Infinity Recording Artists, New England, the whole place stood up like they just scored a hockey goal. And I looked at John like 40 feet away. I said, I can't believe this. What's going on here? Like they came to see us. They knew the song. They bought the record.
Mm.
And Gene is walking down in the orchestra pit. with his black jacket on, his little notebook, writing stuff like, I hate these guys. And we got kicked off the tour.
Really?
Yeah, two shows too soon. They said they're bringing in Iron Judas Priest at that point, who hadn't really broken the States yet. And it kind of screwed us up. We were planning on going to our second record. We took an alternative theater gig in Massachusetts, and about 20 people showed up with
Wow.
one day of advertising, and should have stayed home. Never got an explanation why they were getting
Wow.
snipped like that, but we got an ovation before we played the first song.
That's something.
And it's like how, I mean, I just stood there frozen going, whoa, this is different. So that's a pretty rewarding thing.
Wow.
Been
And
pretty lucky.
you would have played Nassau Coliseum because Judas Priest opened up for them
Yeah,
at Nassau
that was
on
on the
that leg.
list. Yeah, all the East Coast stuff.
I mean, what do you? This stuff like that is just ridiculous. What do you care? They're the opener. You're the headliner. Even if they got two ovations, what do you care? It's not like you got a hit single and you're going, all right, I'm leaving you to
Yeah,
go headline a tour on our own. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's
but
petty bullshit.
who knows? I mean, they've got reasons. So I segue from there to about 6 or 7 years later. I'm at the LA Forum, and Bon Jovi and Skid Row are playing. And Skid Row's first tour, and Bon Jovi's first headlining tour. A friend of mine is the travel guy for all Cheap Trick and all the touring bands, rock bands out of New York. So you want to go see Bon Jovi tonight? Sure, I'll go. So I'm at the Forum bar upstairs in the club, and there's about a big long bar and about 30 bar stools with my wife would call them the IRS, the imaginary rock stars, all the local guys, and all decked out with the scars and the cowboy boots and the girlfriend's negligee across their face and stuff. And here comes Gene. And Gene had his record company at that point that he had started. And every one of these guys was putting the hit on him. Hey, Gene, man, we love Kiss. Man, here's our cassette. Here's our cassette. Hey, Gene, listen to my record. And Gene's being polite and going down the line and talking to each one of them. About 20 minutes later, he comes down the end. I'm sitting by myself. And he goes, Gary. He goes, what are you doing? Sitting here drinking the beer. He goes, hey, you want to go down and meet Bon Jovi and the Skid Row guys? I said, sure. So we went down. He got the God pass, went down through the tunnel, came backstage, and the Skid Row guys just got off the stage. And he was really cool. This is my friend Gary played in New England, Alcatrazz. Oh, yeah, we like you guys. We're from New Jersey. Yeah, you guys are cool. Yeah. He could
That's
have said,
great.
this is schmo. We're not even introduced me, you know.
Right.
And he was cool. And I'm thinking, this is crazy. So you never know. People do things, you know.
Yeah.
It's like
Hmm.
Yeah, they're like
those
the weather.
80s. Yeah, you just can't pigeonhole something or carve things in stone. So the guy was a jerk that day, and he'll be a jerk forever. And sometimes they're not.
Right.
Sometimes they are.
Hmm.
You know? So
Tommy, everything else?
I'm good, Paulie.
Okay. Gary, I want to thank you so much. Again,
thank you guys.
your book signing will be, give the date again, please.
It's next Friday, which is I think the 12th, June
Okay.
12th,
And
in
again,
Berkeley,
the
Michigan.
name of the bookstore?
Berkeley Music.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yep.
I want to
And
thank everybody for being on this show again. A nice long one, and Gary gave us a lot of good dirt. We appreciate it. A lot of really, really great stories. I'm your host, Paulie Christine. That's my boy Tommy. Again, it's Hard Rock History Show. Please follow us on YouTube, on Instagram, and on Facebook. We really appreciate it. Until we see you again, this will air next Monday for Gary so he can be up to date and everybody can come and buy a book from him. Gary,
there
thank you
you
so much again. Really appreciate it.
go. Thanks. Great talking
All
to
right,
you
Thanks,
as
guys.
guys.
we say, rock on.